So amper rechtstreeks. There we go. We are live. Hello, everybody. Finally, it's 10 a.m. on Saturday morning, and I've got Arno. I would love to say I've got Arno in studio with me, but technically he is, because we're in this nice little virtual studio where he's in his office, and I'm in sort of in front of the coffee table in Cape Town. So yeah, I see you guys are tuning in steadily.
Why can you see that and I can't?
Oh, no, it's privileged information, you see. So, Arno, and I'm just going to move around. I know the sun is shining on my forehead, which is probably very distracting, but we'll just deal with it. Arno, just for the sake of everyone, probably by now, hopefully knows kind of who you are, but maybe just a quick introduction, who you are, what you're doing, or what you've done, background a little bit, and then we're going to start with the interesting, fun part of the discussion.
You didn't send me a brief that I have to do this rubbish. Okay, for the guys who don't know me, as Gideon, or is it Donut, or is it Andre? I don't know who's representing you. Arno from Kembativ Concepts, previously from a company called Swaji. We've been in the training industry and the close protection industry close by about almost 20 years now, focusing heavily on combatives. I'm not going to say we were the first to launch combatives in South Africa, but when we started combatives, everybody frowned upon it and nobody knew what it was. And today is all of a sudden a buzzword. So, yeah, I can probably talk long about it, but basically, private background. What drove me very quickly to look for further training in the close protection industry, and I'll be honest, the training that we received was horrible. And it didn't really prepare you for what's out there. I don't think anything can actually prepare you for a real life encounter. Okay, let's put that out there first. But I started looking for better answers, and that's how I got to combatives. Now, before we kick off, important to realize that combatives, my combatives, or anybody's system is not the be all and end all. Nobody's got all the answers. Okay, if a person tells you that this is the most progressive or most advanced system that's being taught out there, don't go there. If people claim and claim that they're teaching special forces, people they need to understand this. And this is not South African context. International context, where countries that actually work and have money for their people, special forces units will get a budget, and a rather large budget. And they will spend money on just about everybody to get training because they diversify in training. That doesn't mean that they're actually using the stuff that they're being taught. Case in point, many years ago, when I launched my first vehicle combative course, I had a couple of task force guys on the course with me. And they were talking about this training that I received, and they were starting to show me something. And I immediately stopped them and said, that shit isn't going to work. And the guy said, how do you know that? I said, well, I know it. So they were trying to take out drug lords in Nigerian drug lords in Sunnyside, and they attempted some of these techniques, and it didn't work. I'm like, of course it didn't work. Okay, so people have to be careful that what's being advertised, especially on who you train. I can tell you a lot of people I train. That doesn't mean they use anything that I train them. Maybe they just don't like it and dump it. So that's quickly a brief introduction there, Julio.
I think that's a very honest brief introduction, because a lot of, without naming names, there are a lot of, I'll call them training providers out there that like telling you their system is, to paraphrase, like the only truth or the only true system or the only true way, and it reminds me a little bit about when I was a lot younger and I was still doing martial arts. The one thing that I learned very quickly as a teenager is that no matter what you do, whether it's karate or Shotokan or judo or jiu-jitsu, there really is no one size fits all. There really is no one martial art that's going to give you everything you possibly need in your toolbox. And a lot of places at the time sold it as such to parents and kids and to people who are interested, because we just didn't have the internet. We didn't have any better information. Everyone was still watching Jean-Claude Van Damme's Bloodsport and Bruce Lee movies and Jackie Chan stuff, and believed the stuff because that was what was the cool thing in the 90s. Now, my first question to you is, what exactly would you define combatives as? What is combative?
I knew I was going to have to type something down, and I didn't. First, let me just start. Just give me a second. I'm just going to look up something for you here. But in saying that, that one size fits all, and things like that. You know what? I don't care what anybody says. A lot of what's being taught is thumbs up. Okay. A lot of people say this has been tested in the street. No, it hasn't. Okay, it hasn't, and there's no proof that a lot of these things that are being taught is actually used on the streets successfully. People might claim it to be, but it doesn't happen. Where is it tested? In the gym. And what do you test in the gym? A trained response from your body. I mean, that's just stupid to think that way. A system should provide you with certain pockets that you should evolve in your own, let's call it, system or concept. Okay, that's important. I'm gonna quickly, not paraphrase, read something of Kelly McCann, which probably all combatives people will refer to as the father of modern day combatives. He defines combatives as a set of personal combat principles applied to an intentionally limited number of simple, predominantly Western self-defense and fighting techniques that are easily recalled under duress and able to be linked, creating short combative sequences. Now, I'm Afrikaans and I can never understand that. But basically, bottom line, what that says, it is it is probably the most simple, lower grade. I'm going to call it lower grade way of fighting. Okay, it's not an all inclusive way of fighting. And this is what you talked about martial arts. People have to remember, you get, and if somebody will comment, I might be wrong, they define as social fighting and asocial fighting. And I think social fighting is when they talk about your road rage guy, your bar fight guy, and stuff like that, or a guy just wants to club you in the street. That's a social fight. Now, if you think about it, if you want to learn to social fight, okay, combatives will not be your first stop. Rather go and learn boxing, kickboxing. If you want to take people to the ground, do grappling and jiu-jitsu. Okay. Our form of combatives originally is purely based on asocial attacks. If somebody wants to stab you, kill you, multiple attackers. But you cannot now all of a sudden say that's all I need to do. Okay. If you like you said, if you want to be a truly, and I hate the word to say, a good accomplished fighter, you have to be able to box, you have to be able to kick, you have to be able to fight on the ground and all these things. And can the average person do that? Do you have time to learn all of that? So you have to decide what do you want to achieve from your training, and you have to live with it. If you get in a social encounter and a guy who can throw his fist and know how to move out of line, you don't, then you want to throw out your strikes and kicks and it's not working, you have to live with it. But you also need to understand that if you roll on the ground and all of a sudden a guy pulls out a knife and a gun and there's 3 or 4 of them around you, you want to take him to the ground, what's going to be your reality on that? So there's always a give and take on any of this at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, you've actually answered 2 or 3 other questions I was going to ask you right there, which is awesome because we don't script these things. I don't have a script.
I had a lot of things I wanted to say and I just forget it. Once the screen goes on, like, what do I need to say?
No, but it's brilliant. It covers all the ground. So essentially, if I can just summarize what we've just been over. So combatives is, essentially it's fighting. It's a Western style of fighting, and it's not the sort of stuff that you're going to find useful in a bar fight where someone's not going to kill you. And without wanting to sound moronic about it, because there are so many people that latch onto these things. Oh, this system you can't use competitively in like any of the ultimate fighting disciplines because it trains you to kill. It doesn't train you to fight with the rules, blah. But in essence, that is what combatives actually is. It doesn't train you to kill, but it's eye gouges. It's all sorts of horrible, nasty things that you will have to do in a asocial fight or antisocial fight, because the stakes are very different. It's no longer in a sort of combative environment. It's not one where, well, if I clap this guy in the bar fight a little too hard, I'm probably going to be in the dock in court on Monday morning. It's got a different. It's a different skill set for a slightly different application. And you answered another question. I was going to ask you, why is it important for the average person, gun owner or non-gun owner, to learn combatives? And the reason I was going to ask you that question, which you also answered now, is
I can go away. Thanks.
we, as gun owners, we have this sort of societal mantra that we avoid social fighting because it's stupid and because it can escalate into a defensive situation that has repercussions and it's bad. But I mean, that's not a rule that just counts for gun owners. The average person on the street really ought to know why avoiding social fights is a good idea. But you also need some sort of skill set to deal with the mugger or the guy who's in a home invasion, whether or not they're trying to steal your wallet or you need to fight for your gun. All this stuff's important. So maybe unpack a little bit about the importance of combatives a little bit deeper for us. By the way, we're going to take questions from the audience later. So
can you see the question? I can't see nothing.
I can see all of it.
Cool. I can't. Yeah, it's important. You know, you said combatives about the eye gouging and the this and that. It's a dirty fight. But it's also not. It can only be done if you actually have a truly resistant partner. Let's take an example, and about the sports fighting as well. We will talk about that. You think your combatives or any fighting style, you're the shit. You just going to eye gouge him or whatever, and you get, let's just say, attacked by a guy with jiu-jitsu, and he takes you to the ground, and you've got all these nicely planned out things that you want to do, but all of a sudden you are so busy just defending whatever he's doing to you, that any dirty fighting flies out of the window. So you have to understand that it's nice to talk about it, but you actually have to do it, and you actually have to test your skills against people that can actually fight. Nowadays, what happens, I get on a lot of courses, I get a lot of guys who does jiu-jitsu and whatever. And Gideon, a lot of times I will give you the opportunity to freedom, to do whatever you want to do. I'll set up a drill, but you can do whatever. And the guys start taking you to the ground or whatever. But this stuff is not brain surgery. But you have to then test your skill. Can you transition to stabbing a guy in a knife? Can you actually eye gouge him while he's trying to choke you out? So you have to kind of figure these things out. But as you said, it's a whole spectrum. You need to decide how far do you want to take it. I mean, how much time does an average guy have to train? Does he have time to go to a social boxing club and then spend an hour or two in jits and then do some combatives? No, you won't. So the whole original aim of combatives is I should be able to take you in 2 days and actually give you something that you can apply on street. It's the straightest point from A to B. But it's not always the most successful route, okay? Just because it's the straightest point for me to neutralize. If I eye gouge you and you're just a hard MF and you look at me and you shrug it off, what now? What's your plan B, plan C, and D? But it is probably, I'm not going to say it's probably the easiest concept for the average person on street who doesn't have a lot of time to learn him how to fight. Because it's not technique driven. We don't have 600 ways to solve a problem. I think all the listeners should know about Hicks' law, where Hicks' law says I'm going to simplify it, if you have too many options to solve a problem, you might not solve that problem at all or take too long. A lot of guys will say, no, look at this. I'm in the gym. You're stabbing like this. Now I'm blocking here and there. I've got muscle memory. Let's boil this down to a simple thing. You drive a car. I don't know for how long we're still going to have cars, but in any case, right now our household has 2 vehicles. My indicators sit on the right-hand side. So can we safely say if there's something like muscle memory, me using that indicator is muscle memory? Okay. So I get in my wife's car. Her indicator's on the left side. First turn, I use the wrong one. Later during the day, you've got this left one, and every now and again you forgot. Tomorrow you climb back in your car. First turn you hit the left side. But you said you have muscle memory. And you will find if you're driving a car like this, sometimes when you get back in your car, you actually have to think, okay, no, my indicator is on this right-hand side. But it's supposedly muscle memory, but it's not. So the concept is the simplest way. You should probably not have more than 15 ways of solving various type of problems. And what's worrying for me, what a lot of people are teaching, I'm scared that some of the videos that we're going to see out there on training is going to turn into gay porn. Okay, because if you look at how some of these people set up attacks. It's like a cook sister. One of these days, a penis is going to go into an anus and say, what if the guy attacks you like this? The stuff that people come up with is ridiculous. The ways that they pretend people are going to react.
Sorry, I'm laughing, but it's true.
But
It is
but
true.
think about it. You've seen some of this stuff. And then I ask you, is it possible that a guy's going to attack you like this? Yes. But is it likely? It almost never happens. But they come up with all these things to keep people interested, because we've become a knowledge-hungry society without gaining any knowledge. So we want to be stimulated. More and more and more and more is better. But we're just feeling like junk food. We're all fat asses because we eat junk food. And we just eat more and more and more and get the same result. And that's what people want. The problem with combatives, it gets boring very quickly. You've been into a class, okay? You will come into a class, guys, that's been training 10 years. You'll be doing exactly the same stuff that they're doing on that night. And in 10 years' time, we'll still be doing the same. We don't now have a grading system. Now you've improved. Okay, now you can spit at 2 attackers in the face. Okay, and tomorrow you can take 3 guys. And eventually when you get your black belt, you can fight 5 guys. We don't work like that. It is a one-size-fits-all for just about everybody. But bear in mind, with that comes some drawbacks. Comes a couple of things that you do not cover and you cannot cover well. Because if you want to cover everything well, you will have to go into a prolonged training scenario. And sometimes you just have to say, well, I'm in shit here. Right here, I need to figure out something to do. But you cannot have solutions for all the problems. And I sounded like a politician because I didn't really know how to answer your question. So I just started rambling.
Well, no, that's actually only you've perfectly answered it. Just on a technical note to everyone asking in the comment section, I can't turn the captions off from my side. You're going to have to turn the captions on. There is an option on Facebook and on YouTube to turn the captions off. Because apparently when
captions stay on my
because it apparently did awesome things when you were talking about penises and anuses earlier. So
I tell you, you're going to lose viewers after this.
No. I think so far everyone thinks it's golden, but that basically answers the thing is most people do not have all types of training comes with a resource constraint, and the 2 major resource constraints of normal people is time and money. They either don't have the money for the training, or to have intense amounts of training, or they don't have the time to participate in intense amounts of training. So,
sorry, I'm gonna stop you right there. It is true, but it's also not true. I'm not sure if I look at a page like EDC Group. If I look at all the expensive junk guys put on guns, sometimes I'm like, no, there is definitely money for training. But even on training, we have to be careful. I'm probably the cheapest trainer in this country, bar none. Okay. And I'm going to say this.
You need to do better marketing, Arno. You are the most affordable or most value for money trainer in this country.
I'm the cheapest. Okay. And this whole unit standard thing brought along a whole fairy tale where they say good training should cost money. And this comes from competency training. If that's true, then, and listen, if you do competency out there, go for it, make your money. But if they say good training should cost good money, then competency training should be free. Or they should pay you for competency training, okay? Because that's not good training. But yes, time and money. One of the reasons we are affordable is we don't want to be, and you as apparatus like equality and all of that stuff. I hate the non-equality of the firearm industry. I hate the idea that if I want to have more firearms, I now need to join a club. I now need to join an association, do this and that and whatever. So it's an equality thing. So all of a sudden I have money to go and play games on a Saturday. You don't. You can't have more guns. But you might be more committed. So to me, that is a problem. And now where do you draw the line? You don't have money, so you shouldn't you don't have the right to train. And that's why and many times probably people that has less money can't afford electrical fencing, armed response, and all of that stuff. Now you're telling me I have to exclude you because you don't have money. On the flip side, I need to make money out of training. I have to. But then you advertise a course for $500 and 4 people pitch up.
No.
But tomorrow he shows his 12 grand little red dot on his pistol that he's never even shot. You can see that gun doesn't even have a scratch. So there is a balance, but we've always been open. I have trained people for free, and I will still do it. I've done it. If a guy comes to me and says, I can't afford it, I'll train you for free. I mean, it's what I need to do, but I need to make money somewhere in the game to keep my doors open. So it is sometimes a trade-off. Time, most of the guys who cannot get onto a course, the excuses is ridiculous. Okay. Do people think I don't have kids and a wife, whatever? My wife used to work on Saturdays. Okay. It cost me a lot of money to get somebody to look after the kids, do this, whatever. I've missed birthday parties of kids. I've missed all of these things as well. So a lot of times excuse is just, it's an easy cop out. It's an easy way. Listen, I'm fat. I can't lose weight. Train and eat better. Okay, but it's simpler to say, I've got a problem with my metabolism. No, you don't. I've got a problem with time. No, you don't. You're just not managing it. I mean, all of us are time constrained. Then get up 20, 30 minutes earlier in the morning and go do 20 minutes of training. But it's easier to say, no, I don't have time. I'm tired. I'm also tired. If you can drink a Red Bull, no, that shit will kill you. But any case, let me not get on my soapbox on I don't have time to train.
No, but that's exactly. That's not the direction I wanted to vector the discussion into, but I'm glad you said it because, again, this is all true. So what makes it, I think what my intent was with mentioning the constraint is a lot of people don't have time to dedicate themselves to, let's say, boxing, jiu-jitsu, and some form of karate or still some form of strength training. Whereas the concept of combatives, if you don't want to become a black belt martial artist that competes internationally and, whatever, do cage fighting on a weekend, if you just want to learn how to fight when some guy is trying to kill you, and by how to fight is deploy whatever resources you have. If you don't have a gun, let's say you only have a knife, or if you've got, not even that, at least to be semi-competent in fighting, that's going to give you a better chance. And if you've got nothing else that you're capable of accessing, then combatives at least fills that role beautifully, because that's exactly, you're teaching people how to fight. So as an example, go for it. Okay.
I'll forget and I'll think about something else, so don't worry.
No. So a very close friend of mine, and he might be watching the stream, he had a horrible, I'm going to call it a home invasion in a small town a few months ago, where he ended up grappling with one of the attackers. There were 4 or 5 of them. One got in. The other 4 or 5 outside were still trying to get into his house. They ended up grappling with this guy on the floor of his hallway. His wife came along, jumped on the back of this guy and started gouging his eyes, the attacker's eyes. He then bit, I think it was the tip of her thumb off in the struggle. She got off the guy, went to the kitchen, fetched a knife, came back, got back on top of the guy, started stabbing him with the knife, which gave her husband the opportunity to get out from underneath him, go fetch his handgun, come back, and I think he ended up shooting the chap like 3 or 4 times in the hallway, which then ended the attack, and then the other bunch ran away. So this is the type of concepts you teach. It's simple. It's use what you have as violently as possible.
Exactly. That lady stuck to one of the combative principles. She might just not know it. So she gouged a guy's eyes. But, eye gouging. People don't understand. If I'm going to gouge your eyes, I'm going to try to tickle the back of your brain. So a lot of people will do it hesitantly. But what if it doesn't work? It didn't work. She got up and got a knife. So basically, combatives we do to get to a weapon, and you branch. This didn't work. Now I branch, and that's what she did. It's funny. We have a bit of a problem, and people have a bit of a problem in the switch. They will still fight a guy, but people will still fight clean. Okay, they will still fight to what they are known. But that lady did perfectly. She should have actually got to the knife immediately, firstly. But she stood basically utilize the combative principles. I do A didn't work, I went to B. And this is the thing that people don't understand. And people are teaching people for success. And this is so wrong. Show me how many videos out there will the guy show you what if this does not work, what to do. It doesn't happen. Okay, everybody shows you moral success, but they don't consider failure. And almost nobody shows you how to branch into B, C, and D because A is going to work. Well, you know, I've stood in front of people, they come to class and they say, no, I'm going to do this. And they do this. And I stand and like, what did you do just now? Nobody was supposed to work. I said, but I wasn't in gym that day when that was taught. So I'm not going to react the way that you're going to react. And this is a big mistake that trainers, and me included, sometimes make. If you want to show somebody something from the beginning, you kind of try to want to overwhelm the person and show them how that person will react. That's kind of wrong, because you want to show that your technique works. The problem that trainers make is, I will show you something. The bad guy will react in this way. Now I'm teaching all the students out there looking how to respond. So I'm teaching them a trained response on what I'm doing. So now they kind of believe it. But nobody allows you really free thought and free action. So if I do A, you can do anything. But what trainers do is, you will get into a position. So I catch this knife. Okay, now I've caught this knife. Yeah, okay. What if there's blood and sweat? Me and Dylan, we were training the other day. We were sweating like pigs. Okay. Now, does a pig sweat? I don't know. Any case, but we were training hard and we could not hold onto anybody's arm. We tried to hang on to your arm as much as possible. We couldn't. Okay. So now I'll tell you, you grab this arm, then an instructor will tell you, what can this guy do now? This and this and that. So he just planted the seed to tell his attacker what he can do and not do. So it took all his free thought. He said, this is what you can do. I look at it, it's like, no shit. I wouldn't even want to do what that guy is doing. So he's forcing him, you can only do this or this or that, instead of asking the guy, do anything you want. So now you're starting to predict. So now I'm predicting what a bad guy is going to do, because my instructor said he can only do this or this or that. In comparison, if any fighting, if you predict what that guy's going to do and you're wrong, you're screwed. And 9 out of 10 times you will be wrong to predict. Rather ask the attacker, what do you think you can do? And let him do anything. And your aim should be not to try to predict what the attacker is going to do, to limit what he possibly could do. That's what you want to aim at. But most of the guys will say, oh no, I saw a video of a guy, one of your great friends, when he was teaching a knife thing, and the guy was hanging onto the arm, and he says, now the attacker can do this or this or that, and he was standing there wanting to slap the guy. You could see he wanted to slap the guy, but he realized this does not fit into the pocket of what he teaches. So he just stood there and allowed the guy to do what he needed to do without actually responding. It's the same thing with what we sometimes see. That lady eye gouge guy didn't work. So you have all these knife stuff and the guy's just knees. Well, go watch an MMA fight where they clinch and they knee the shit out of each other. They don't even blink. But we believe, I'm just going to give him a couple of knees and the guy's going to fall. No, he's not. What if he's amped up? Come on, a guy wants to kill you. He's not combative. He's not going to fight. Especially if you corner him, there's this misconception that everybody's going to run away. Okay, that guy didn't run away. He stood there and fought. What if you are caught in your house and you are in between the exit route of the attacker? What now? He needs to go through you. If I'm in the open, you shoot at me and I have a gun, what am I probably going to do? Shoot back at you, okay? But if I can run, I'm going to run. So people have this misconception that, yes, once if you're in a built area, in a town area, and you start shooting, the fight is stopped because the police, okay, let's not talk about, somebody will come eventually, okay? The game is over. But if you are trapped, think about your room. If a guy's trapped there, here's a door, he needs to work through me. He's going to stay in the fight. And nobody taught him how to respond or to react. And I have to be really careful what I'm going to say now.
No. Just be brutal. We do brutal things on here. Go for it.
Without sounding racial. Okay. If I take a white guy and I put him in my gym and we do knife stuff, he responds differently than an average black guy that I will take out of the township and do the same thing. There's a huge difference in response. And I'm taking a criminal element. I'm talking that person's environment in the township on fighting and his perception of fighting is completely different than my neighbor next door. Okay. And this has got a lot to do with how we were brought up. If I take rugby and things like that, it amazes me once you get in close contact how many white people want to kind of wrestle. And it's the stupidest thing that you can do. They forget about strikes or whatever, and they try to use their power or whatever. That just tires you out and get you in trouble. You get a skinny guy that swings a pick and a graph. You try to grab him, he moves differently. And this is one of the things we don't prepare people because it's sensitive. It's sensitive to say, but you know what? An average guy in a township will fight differently because his exposure to violence, unfortunately, is way different than our suburbia utopia that's also falling away. We might fight like the guy in the township one of these days if things go on. But you understand what I'm saying? It's not a racial thing. I sometimes find Indian people respond differently. I found when I go and train Cape Town, the colored people respond differently to everything. So everybody responds differently. And we try to say, this is how the guy's going to respond. You don't know what that person has gone through. You don't know what his survival instinct is going to be. And that is what makes attacker extremely difficult to predict what they're going to do.
So basically, new catchphrase for Kembativ Concepts is we will teach you how to fight like a black guy from the townships.
Yeah, I will say this. I have my microphone fell off. I have had the opportunity to have security guards. Trained security guards a long time ago. And a couple of those security guards was known hijackers. They were just never caught. Okay. They used to be that's what their trade was. They were hijackers, and these were nasty people. You start running with that guy, his response is completely different than most other people. When you start running with that guy, his intent is to kill you. Okay, his intent is not just to, I'm tapping out or whatever. His response and his will to survive. Although he will run away when you shoot at him, but think about it, if you start hijacking, killing people, your will to survive is pretty damn strong.
Yeah.
Probably stronger than mine or yours, because it might just be the criminal element, but he's doing that to survive. He's willing to kill you to survive. Where is that guy's mindset?
Yeah. And that, Arno, that is the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, is in your training videos, which I've been punting quite heavily.
You have to,
and I need the money. So thank you for, just to clarify, we'll explain this later, but Piratas gets a massive cut out of Arno's videos. I get a bigger cut than Arno gets out of his own videos that I sell on the website.
If I was an alcoholic, I could understand why I made that deal to you, but I've got no idea why I made that deal.
I don't understand either, but I wasn't going to say no. So I'm not that stupid.
I'm not going to take the route of the smugglers. Okay, so I'll give you a bigger cut.
Okay, no, that's cool. But on the video, you had a nice little exposition on one of them about mindset, and the importance of mindset is you can have all the tools in the world, you can have the skills, you can have all that stuff going for you, but if your mindset isn't correct, you're going to be in trouble. And when I trained with you on the knife stuff, it was one hell of a mind shift for me to override, and this, it wasn't so much a mindset thing as an instinct thing, which is a different discussion, but going into the attack and going into the knife as opposed to trying to instinctively draw back, which just makes it worse and gives the guy more room to cut you. It's a similar concept, maybe. What can you tell me about it?
No, it is, and it's a controversial topic, and I will say, because if you don't have space, the knife guys are now going to get semi-hard-ons and say, no, you're all wrong or whatever. what they are. And this is why generally we don't put a lot of knife stuff in there, because it's one of those things that you can counter argument any and everything that anybody shows you. We have to remember this because there's so many variables. What we teach in knife stuff is counterintuitive. The biggest problem with if we are in close with a knife, what we teach you to do is, if you don't have the mindset and you don't have the training, impossible to do. I will say that because we ask you to move in and not move out. Human reaction will be to move out. So I'm big enough to say that on our way of handling a knife close in is different than most people. But if you look at all the video clips, whatever, what happens with people that always move away? They get cut, and they eventually die. So it is counterintuitive. And if you don't have a massive mindset to do that, you are screwed. You will not be able to go. And even me myself, I'm pretty sure that first swing, I will back. But I always tell people, not on the second or not on the third. You can have the first swing back, but from there you have to go forward. But people have to understand. You have to understand the concept of what we're trying to show you. You know, you kind of have to be in class. Mindset is key, but now also here's a fallacy. So it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I wake up. There's 20 AK-47s pointing at my head. Your mindset are not going to help you, okay? Because you didn't have the time, you don't have the tools. So mindset is extremely important. But I walk down the street, somebody shoots me in the back of the head. Mindset isn't going to help me. Mindset will only help you if you have an opportunity to be able to find back. But let me say, if I go to an amateurish MMA guy, he's an amateur fighter, I get into the ring with him right now, my mindset is stronger than his. He will still knock me the hell out, okay? Without a doubt. He will still put me to sleep. Mindset cannot trump skill. No. So you have to have that massive mindset, but you have to have the skill to back up that mindset. Otherwise, that mindset might save you not dying. You might be bleeding on the street, but you just have that mindset that you're not going to die, and they save you, and. But the mindset without skill isn't going to help you that much, and it's extremely difficult to cultivate the mindset. This is one of the things why we are pro hard training, and I'm not talking about just combatives, just training as hard as you can. I did a video yesterday about heart rate where I tried to get my heart rate up to 180 beats and whatever and not give up. That's what training gives me. That's why I spend more time on training and exercises that almost kills me, because that teaches mindset. Having a bad past, having problems, having what we have right now in this country is a test of mindset. Okay. And you have to we all get negative, but you have to take all of these facets and put it into your life and say mindset. But mindset needs to be backed up by skill. There's an analogy, Google, I don't know if that's the right word, that says if you go and shoot, for instance, a competition, a match, and I've got nothing against competition shooting, I'm just giving you an example. A match will be 70%.
Well, Arno, you were an IDPA master, so you can't.
I was the first one.
You were the first one.
I was the first one. So I love sports shooting, but then let's not go on there. So a match is probably 70% skill, 30% mindset. When somebody wants to kill you, that probably turns around. It's probably 70% mindset, 30% skill. But that 30% skill has to be at 100%. You cannot mindset a guy, no touch, knockdown bullshit. You can't do that.
No. And that actually covers it perfectly, because I'm guilty of it. Just for the audience tuning in now, yes, this is being recorded. You'll be able to watch the whole thing on Facebook and on YouTube. They better. It's free. And I'm a bit guilty of perhaps overemphasizing mindset in some of my discussions with people. But I don't infer that the skill set and the equipment aren't important. They are. That's part of your toolbox.
Mr. Donut, if you don't have mindset, you're not going to train.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that mindset, you're not going to get your ass in a gym or in front of your punching bag every day and do something. So you can probably not, but we have to be careful to say, I've got a knock hard mindset, you can't touch me. And the first time smacks you on the ground. You've got a bad chin and you don't even know about it because you never had a fight. quickly, I want to jump back to something that we have to be careful when we discuss combatives and the guy who just wants to learn how to fight. Yes, combatives is probably the simplest way to teach you. If you have a bag or whatever, you can start teaching or learn to fight. But we have to be extremely careful about this. Solo combatives or just teaching yourself combatives will make you excellent at being offensive. But you've got no idea how you're going to react if somebody clogs you on the chin. Okay. One should never, never, ever forget that whatever you train, and a lot of me as well, a lot of guys out there will do a lot of silo training. You have to get a partner and beat the snot out of each other. Literally try to actually punch each other to the floor because you need to feel that. The only way you're going to learn how to fight is actually to fight. And without that, you can be a massive, aggressive, offensive striker. But the first guy who punches straight in your mouth, you fall. So unfortunately, this is a part nobody wants to do. See this broken nose? I don't like breaking anymore. The doctor said don't break the thing anymore because we can't fix it. Okay. But you should not be scared to actually get a punch and be punched and see how you will react. I have a lot of students, as I said, and I will admit to it. I said, Arno, I'll spar against you, no problem. I'm like, yeah, you're an MMA fighter. And of course you can spar. I suck at sparring. Me and Dylan, we're working a lot of boxing now and groundwork, whatever, but I'm not good at that. But they said, once the guns and knives come out, now, different story. So I understand. But I have to go spar at him. I have to be embarrassed. I have to have put me in a headlock or punch me out or whatever. You have to do it to see if you're okay with that and to be okay with that pain. So I was just jumping back to something that we discussed a bit earlier.
No, that's you're allowed to jump back and forth as you want because the discussion is getting a lot of good feedback, and I think we're saying stuff that people want to know.
I can't read the comments. You might just be blowing.
Okay, I was just going to put one on the screen that you should be able to read. Can you read that one, Arno?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. That's.
Oh, excellent. Thanks, guys. I think I know him. I think I've met him.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about a slightly different part of combatives. It helps if you're.
My fascination with lollipops. Oh, let's
talk about that. We can certainly talk about the lollipop fascination, but you need a certain level of fitness and a certain level of strength is obviously beneficial to being better at combatives. So what is your training? I mean, there's no training regime that works for everybody, but what do you do specifically? Because I notice you say, you don't do the squats and the deadlifts as much because you've got issues preventing you from doing those things, but you obviously supplement it in other ways.
Yes. Before you do any type of physical training, you need to understand, do you have injuries? What happens? When I did my yearly checkup, the big one, the doctor said, you're in the wrong industry. You shouldn't be doing any of this. You should just be swimming. Your body's too broken. And he's right. And I had to adapt. I can't do squats. I can't do deadlifts. I can't do any of those things because I just won't be able to walk. So you have to first look at your limitations. And I'm not a personal trainer, but you have to have a mixture. Okay. So let's say I can't do deadlifts. Okay, so how do I generate power? Well, I can generate a lot of power with kettlebells. I can generate a lot of power work with a 10-kilogram slam ball. There are so many great people out there who's figured out alternative ways of you building power. But you have to have. Let's look at it as a whole. You have to desensitize yourself to pain. Okay, and in some way you have to say pain is okay. And that training gives you that. You have to have clever people, correct me if I'm wrong. Aerobic training is when I go jog for a long while. Anaerobic is that explosive things. I might have it wrong. I'm not a personal trainer. You really want to concentrate on anaerobic fitness, those super blasts of quick interaction, which I enjoy, kind of the Tabata thing. 20 seconds on hardcore, 10 seconds off, and see how your heart rate drops in that time. So I kind of enjoy that. Some plyometrics with heavy weights and things like that for power and strength. That's something that I enjoy. But basically, I don't have and this is a kind of a downfall on my side. I don't have a training program. I don't. I just get up and decide, what am I going to do today? What do I feel like doing today? If I feel lazy, I just do weights. You can see I do a lot of weights with the size. But if I don't feel like training, I'll do 20 minutes on the bag and I'll just do heavy weights. Oh, not heavy weights like bench and stuff like that. It's completely useless for combatives, but at least I go home and I train. But I enjoy kettlebells. There's a lot of stuff you can do kettlebells. But I have to say this, people use this as an excuse. I don't have equipment. I don't have this. I don't have this. You know, I can see people are dumb. So I know people have internet. There is so much free stuff on the internet. Okay, stuff like your what's it called? Your Scots on and stuff, your tag fit stuff, whatever, you're gonna have to pay for it. But there is so much free information on the internet, training programs that you can just start off with. When I started with my fitness training, you're gonna laugh at this. I wish I can remember. It was, man, it was, I'll probably remember at some stage. It was some woman doing 15 to 20 minute free sessions every day. Every day she had a workout. Most men just looked at her because she had a wonderful body, but I just went for the training. And that's how I started my training, knowing nothing. I can't remember who she was, but I started on that. And, you know, in like a month, I lost 4 or 5 kilograms. And then I just started studying. But as I said, I'm not a fitness trainer, but you need explosive strength power. So you don't need a 200 kilogram deadlift, okay? You need explosive strength and you need burst of fitness. That's why I go and try to work as a high heart rate as you can and then bring it down. But you have to go and study, because I don't want to give people advice and say, give yourself a kettlebell, because if you do a kettlebell wrong, you're going to screw yourself up. But kettlebells, for me, I can do a lot of kettlebells because it doesn't influence my back a lot. I'll do a lot of body weight exercises. These TRX type of things, I'll use that. And one of the pieces of equipment that I just bought, I don't know, they call it a torsion bar or something like that. I don't know if you've seen it. It's where I put my long the long bar in a corner and it's got a swivel, and you can put weights on it and you can do a lot of strength and stuff. So there's almost zero excuse for you not to train. If you can't do weights, do body weight. And then slowly but surely, have you ever tried 15 rounds on a heavy bag flat out? I can't even do 3 minutes flat out on a heavy bag. Understand? That's training by itself. But you need to decide, what do you want? Do you want a six-pack? Do you want a this? Do you want that? I just want to be fighting fit. Okay, so I need some strength, some power, and some speed. So I try to find the exercises that will help me with that. And a lot of stuff, not cool, fancy stuff, hand-eye coordination. As you get older, your balance points from 30, 35, your balance points start going off. Your reflexes start going off. Your chin starts going. So you shouldn't just go for the power stuff. You should also look at getting hand-eye coordination, reflex work, and more speed. Power generation is easy if you follow the Dempsey drop. And combatives is all about the Dempsey drop and showing how a person without strength can generate a lot of strength. But that doesn't mean if you're a 50 kilogram skinny person that you're going to hit the snot out of a 100 kilogram person. That's kind of the misconception on women as well. It's like, I'm going to teach you this, and you see that, and the women will throw strikes. I will say awesome, but it's not. You won't even kill a fly with it. But I'm going to make you feel good. No, you're not.
I was about to say, that's why we've got a gun.
Exactly. And the whole concept of combatives is to get to a weapon. This is probably the biggest difference between combatives and a lot of other styles, is our way of training is just to get to a weapon, not to be in a 3-minute fist fight. It is to get to a weapon, whether it's an improvised weapon, a knife, a gun, a pepper spray, whatever, but it is to get to a weapon.
Well, I think that covers it. Well, that certainly covers the question I had about your training regime. So in summary, if you go out there and your one thing you do is powerlifting, that's not exactly going to be the most useful thing for you from a combative's point of view. You need that anaerobic burst of speed. You need speed, you need power, you need a lot of stuff in one, and there are better ways of training yourself.
once again, it's about balance. It's like a combative guy. I don't want to box. You need to box. I don't want to go to the ground. You need to go to the ground. So it's like a powerlifter. I don't need to do this. Or a combative guy. I don't need to powerlift. But if you can do it, try to get. If you're healthy and your body is working, try to do a combination of all of that. But don't make it a cop out and say, "Oh, I just said I don't have to deadlift." Well, if you can, that's probably one of the best ways to strengthen you. If you can do it, do it. But don't overdo it to the expense of where you start losing speed. Okay, you might think you're creating power, but at power at what speed? Okay, so it's always a trade-off.
No, that's solid advice. And since we're coming up to the last 10 minutes, because I don't want to hold everyone here on the entire Saturday mornings, although you and I could probably talk for 3 hours after you said you wanted to do a bit of a giveaway, and then we'll start taking questions from the guys.
We completely forgot. I completely forgot. That's what I'm talking nonsense. Okay, we're going to make this interesting, Giron, and only you can see the answers, okay? I cannot. So it will be on my cost. You guys just need to get your address, whatever. So I'm going to give away. This is clickbait to get more people involved or something. I'll give away this carbon fiber little wallet and one tactical pen. Where's the camera? Oh, okay.
There we go.
So should we have some fun? I'm gonna give the people out there 5 options. I'm gonna give them 5 firearms, and they should tell me which one of those. You don't even know which one of those was my first firearm that I ever owned. Okay, all 5 of these I owned at one stage. Let's start. Baby Browning, little 25. A Llama 765 that look like the calls. A 38 Special Taurus, stainless steel, model 85. A CZ75 or a Beretta model 21, 0.22 model 71. So if the guy's going to answer, the first one to get the answer correct, you will get this. Valued in South African value, probably now 6,000-7,000, maybe 8,000-9,000. I don't know. Another 2 months, like 20,000 rands.
We'll have to give it in Zim dollars. I think their inflation rate's more stable than ours at the moment. So,
so let's see if anybody listen to me and anybody takes a chance. They're going to have to guess. I actually discussed this many times, which was my first firearm. I was actually 12 years old. So figure that one out. If somebody can do it.
Okay, cool. I'll wait for some people to put their answers in. We've got a few coming in, and it comes in, chronologically. So I'll just let it roll, and then at the end, I'll scroll back up and we can read them and see who got it right.
Then Gideon, I had a fairy, and I'm not. He said he didn't want to say who he is. For some reason, he likes stirring on the internet, but the guy bought a couple of videos. Yeah, I really don't get why he does it. But in any case, I got a guy that sponsored, I think it was 4 or 5 videos. Said he doesn't want to be mentioned. He paid for them, whatever. So I want to actually ask the guys to be honest, not for a freebie. I'll give away 2 on your show, but pop us a message, an email or whatever, and tell us who you know needs something like that cannot afford it. I don't want people who can afford to buy it to say I need it. Okay, I'll give 2 out because that was the guy's idea. Said there might be guys who cannot afford this video, who's really into it. So pop us a message and we will, maybe I'll give away a little bit more. So
I'm going to put your email on the screen quickly. It's Arno. Just read it to me quickly. It's
Alpha Romeo November Oscar.
Oscar. Yes.
With Alpha Golf Tango @gmail.com.
@gmail.com. I think it's going to pop up now.
I don't know. I can't see it.
I just want to see if it shows. There we go. arniswatria@gmail.com.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna leave that up there so that people can check it out.
So we've got Gideon. I'll give away another of these sets, but you need to decide how we're gonna do this.
Oof. Okay. Give me some time. I think for now, since just tell the guys quickly what the options are for your first firearm again. Because a whole bunch of
It's
comments will
Baby
come.
Browning, 25. It's a Llama 765. It's a Taurus Model 85, 38 special stainless steel, a CZ75, or a Beretta 22 Model 71.
Okay,
I've
excellent.
owned all of them.
Cool. And then we'll give it another. I'll give it another 2 minutes, and then I'll start scrolling through and see if anyone got it. And if no one got it, then we're gonna have to do something else. I don't know.
I'll just sell it and make money.
Also, we are taking questions now, so we've got another couple of 6 or 10 minutes, depending upon how it goes. So if you guys have got questions, pop them to me on the side here. And we can start. Arno and I can start discussing them. But just to squeeze in the little commercial break here. So Arno does have about 211 minutes of training videos. That's pretty good stuff. I bought myself a copy, which pissed him off because he said I should have, because I'm technically associated with you, so he wanted to give it to me for free. But it's a good product. I'm happy to. It was 250 Rand. You can order it through me, then I take a bigger cut than Arno does, so then you can keep Paratus going. You can pay for the website's hosting, you can pay for a whole lot of stuff. And I got my first, we got our first payment yesterday, which I'm super proud of. I did my first sale, and it's going to carry on from there. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in Arno's training videos. It's knife stuff, it's pad stuff, it's strikes and kicks, it's fighting for your draw. It's a whole bunch of things you did there, Arno. It's not your first video that you're releasing. This is, yeah.
It's not my first video. Now I've released some really shitty B grade, C grade, F grade stuff, straight to the shelf stuff many years ago, probably before you were born. We've made videos in the past. Here's the funny part, and don't get me wrong. A good 60-minute American-made video that's nicely edited, comes with a guy with a nice accent or whatever. It's about $59.
Nice.
That's a type of money that I pay for international stuff. So let's say a good hour video is $50 times our currency right now. Where we're going to stand?
We're going to be close to $1,100 already, right there. Yeah,
that's fun. So we gave away, as you said, over 200 minutes. Yeah, the editing isn't that great, and I suck at English, but the value of the training.
That's what you buy. You're buying the value of the training.
And people will ask you, why did we launch it in this time? We were going to launch it in any case. To launch it in the lockdown is the most stupidest thing you can do. You should have waited and then tried to lift the price. Okay, so, but the guys get a deal, because when I made that price, I'm like, you know what, economically we're screwed. So let's not go for $300 or $400 or $500. Let's just pop it out at 250 rands. At least if you think I suck, then it's not the most expensive mistake you've made in your life. Okay, you can, at least I give you a reason to criticize me and say bad things and say whatever. But at least it's entertainment. Okay, and on top of that, my voice can put you to sleep. So, you lie in bed, it's better than taking tablets. So it's fine. It might serve a couple of purposes.
Well, there's not enough Hollywood studio magic in the world to make you look pretty, Arno. So,
no. But do you have a haircut? Do you have a professional haircut? I'm just saying.
No. Okay, so I'm going to scroll through the answers quickly. So the first one we have is CZ75. From Dean Clark. He was the first guy. Okay, sorry, Dean. Then Heinrich de Beer, Taurus 38 Special.
Wrong.
Ooh, okay. This cuts a whole bunch of people. Matt, Beretta M71.
Correct.
So Matt
was 12 years old. My first pistol that I owned. That is 34 years ago. You win yourself. Matt, Matt, no. Not this, Matt. No, Matt cannot. He's disqualified. Okay, Matt. Okay, you won yourself. He's been a student of mine, good mate of mine, and I think he still guessed. But in any case, no. But he buys my stuff, so he probably saw me talking about Matt. It yourself a beers in a pen gewen. Well, nice.
You see, we talked about cheating in the fight. He's cheated in the comment section.
I mean, if you follow me, you would have known that. But yeah, funny enough, that was my funny story how I got that right. I wanted to buy a pistol, and my parents didn't want to buy it. And then I said, well, I'm going to buy a crossbow. And the next week, there was a kid who killed his parents with a crossbow. It was in the newspapers. So my parents said, I think about this. No, we'll rather get you a pistol, not a crossbow.
It's
So,
safer. It's less psychotic.
So I got it, yes. And that was...
Voorsdier was the guy who bought our video yesterday. So baie dankie u edele. Like, we appreciate your purchase, and thank you very much. So daar het ons eerste een. The only questions we seem to be getting is from Andre, why am I saying Andre like his English? Andre, who's asking if how much you want for the whiskey, and are your Chesterfields sold separately?
Now there's a, and here's the thing, I'm not allowed to say who some of my clients are, but Andre, this whiskey comes from actually one of my clients that I look after. Okay, he's associated with this brand. I don't drink it, so you can have it. I don't care. If you've got a permit, come get it. The Chesterfields I get per cartons. But here's the funny part, I don't pay for them. I get them.
Well,
any case,
you see, then you're not what's it, part of doing black market buying and selling, then, are you?
I actually get these Chesterfields for free. I kid you not.
Exactly.
But on that, let's not go into politics. I'd rather buy from the guy who feeds his family, and the government still probably get an illicit cut than any case.
Okay, so just to answer Werner quickly. So Werner, we've got a trailer I made, which is very amateur hour with very pornographic music playing over Arno hitting a dummy.
I don't know my version.
So you could check that out on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook page. So how it works is, if you want the videos, just send me an email, and we facilitate the whole proof of payment thing. And then Arno sends you a download link with your personalized password. Well, I'll be sending you a download link shortly. Arno will show me how to do these things. And then you get access to it. You can download your videos directly from. It's attached to your email address. You can download your videos directly from the website. So it's all downloadable, and the link is kind of personalized to you to make sure no one else can steal your videos. So that's how the process works, and it's actually quite lekker. I downloaded all my videos on a very inferior internet connection when I was still stuck in Swellendam. So. I can't complain. And
sorry, I didn't compress the videos enough on the first run. Maybe if we run it again, I'll compress the videos a bit more, because I think the total is it 3 or 5 gigs? So it was me not compressing it enough. So at some stage, I'm thinking of just compressing the material a little bit more, because a lot of people have been having problems with downloading it. But on that video, guys, at $250, I'm making millions. And Gideon is making millions. Really,
I'm making millions. Yeah.
We are out there. But you know what? If you know nothing about combatives, even if you know something, you're going to learn something out of there. Even if it's just ideas on how to start training. Okay, and just simple ideas on how to get going. That's all it really is. There's a lot of information out there. That's probably the 4th time I've shot those videos. I've shot. I haven't had one retake on all of those. I've done those videos so many times over that I just never released them. The last one was about 3 years ago that I made one with Dylan. We made similar videos, and we just never released the material. So on lockdown, I thought, let's just do it. Guys are bored. Maybe you have a bag and we do it again.
No, look, I've gotten a lot of value out of them. So dankie, Arno. I appreciate you finally releasing something again.
We're thinking about. It's just a bit difficult. I'm thinking about, irrespective of how long this traumatic booster is going to last, doing something on vehicle and home. There can't be any live fire and things like that. I'm going to have to get the wife to walk around. My GoPro broke, so the screen doesn't work. It records. Even with that video, we had so many issues because basically all my equipment broke, and I had to work with what I can. So if we can get, I have a mark. I have an X amount. If I can sell an X amount off the first round, I'll work on the second round. It doesn't take me long. The editing takes forever. For me to shoot another 3 hours is one day. I mean, it's kind of what I do for a living. I don't need to script this. But what really, shut up and take my money, I can see that. What really bothers me, nobody ever asks us questions. On all your other shows, people ask questions. For us, like, no questions.
Because you answer all of them before people get to ask them, Arno. So.
Or I just go, no, I really don't want to have his opinion on that. That's probably also... No, stab him.
But I think the vehicle and house stuff is going to be really good. I look forward to seeing that stuff. And I just want to remind everyone, because most of our views are still coming from the Facebooks. I don't know if any of you guys are aware yet, but I got shadow banned for like a week by Mark Sugar Mountain, because I think Brian posted something about COVID-19 that triggered them, and they just shadow banned us for a week. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, where this is live streaming as well simultaneously. And then you can stay, I suppose, in contact with whatever Piratus is doing. And yeah, so Arno, please do the vehicle stuff. Andre is very keen to see you do vehicle stuff. Oh, there was a last thing before we can the broadcast. A very good question that popped up from Jason. He's still here, I hope. If he isn't, then we'll just steal his question. But it was about your glasses. He said, when stuff goes wrong, what do you do with your glasses?
Okay, now that's very simple. When I operate, I operate with contact.
When you operate operationally, yes.
When I operate operationally, when I do CPU work or whatever, I wear my contact lenses. But getting older, I'm now at a point where the clever people say, but I can still read here, where I'm now at that point where my glasses was always for long distance, but now it's kind of a bifocal bullshit thing that doesn't work, and I need to read with it, but I still don't do it because I try to train my eyes as much as I can. Usually when I'm out and about, I use contact lenses, but I do train a lot. Even when I get combative classes, sometimes I go to the shooting range without my glasses, okay? Because, Gideon, that Cape Town course, okay, that was just that one-day course, okay? I got off the plane, I didn't put in my contact lenses, neither my glasses. I couldn't see jack what you guys were doing, and I was still taking shots at 20 meters, okay? Yeah. The thing is, I do test my eyes by going to the range without shooting with any glasses. But this is why I have always, okay, clean, okay. This is why I've always, let me just get the angle, humongous sights. Yeah. On my gun. See how pretty my gun looks like. Go look at your gun. This is what a gun should look like, okay? Not this pretty boy nonsense. But I do train without my glasses. And sometimes when I'm at the end of my contact lens cycle, my 30-day cycle or whatever, we'll do some eye gouges and shit like that to get to I'm just showing my neighbor. He's calling me for a smoke. I'm just showing him out the window. I'm coming just now. So sometimes I'll also train with older contact lenses for eye gouges and whatever, to have that feeling of that contact lens running in your head and stuff like that. So yes, but I'm fortunate enough that on this distance, I shoot better without glasses because I can only concentrate on my sights. And that's when I can take 20-30 meter shots without my glasses much better, because my eyes can still focus on the sights, but I can't see the target. So, but I do train without, and you shoot as well, but it's simpler to say because some people cannot. Some people without their glasses, they can't see their sights. So this is what I'm saying. When you train with your sights, so that if you cannot see your sights, that you know how to freaking point. Okay, use them. But glasses is problematic. But I'm fortunate enough that on this distance, I can have perfect vision still on my sights, but not on the target. But it does have an influence.
Perfect, Arno. And I think that we've been busy for basically an hour and 10 minutes. And you need to go smoke, and I need to go do stuff and be productive. But that was lekker met jou te praat. We have to please do this again. I'm sure we're going to get requests to do it again. And please buy Arno's video. And yeah, I guess I've got nothing else to say, but have a fantastic Saturday. Dankie vir julle almal. Ons gaan time out. And gaan braai asseblief vleis if you can. And it was great seeing everyone here. It was a lekker chat.
Money for flies. Cool, guys. Speak to you later.
Cheers, guys.
Dobson, Dani, I don't know who I talked to, who's alter ego. Thanks for having me on the show, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more, I blame you. But yeah, okay, we can make another plan.
Absolutely. Totsiens almal en lekker Saterdag. O, daar's my duim. Daar's hy. Bye.
Cheers.